Well, welcome everyone. My name is Jay Lyman. I'm a librarian with the Seattle Public Library. And I also want to introduce Andrew Powers, who is also who is going to be presenting tonight. I guess I'll put myself up on the screen there too. Just a like housekeeping. While you're not speaking, please put yourself on mute so we don't hear your background noise. If I do hear it and it's kind of interrupting things, I'll mute you, but don't take that personally, and please take yourself off mute at any time. And when you want to ask us questions or talk. And then I guess with that, I know Andrew has some other things that he wants to share. So I will go ahead and, I know what else I wanted to share. We also have live captioning happening today. So when you're seeing those, the words show up in the bottom of your screen, that's one of our two captioners who are doing that in real time. So thank you to our captioners for doing this today. I guess with that, Andrew, I'm going to turn time over to you, and thank you for being here. And I know you want to share a link to a survey too that you wanted folks to fill out.
Correct. And thank you, Jay. Thank you, Seattle Public Library, for being able to put this on. Hi, everybody. My name is Andrew Powers, and I will be presenting today. Obviously, that's why you're here. You know that. But I'm very excited to have everybody here because I want this to be more of a conversation on what you guys have done, meaning business-wise, whether you've written a business plan, and really to talk about the difference of what a lean business plan is versus a regular business plan. And as Jay said, this will more so be an open conversation. I'll try to go over the presentation real quick, and then there'll be an ability to actually jump into the Lean Business Model Canvas using Google Docs, which is the name of the class. So I appreciate everybody coming. First off, there is a survey. We're going to throw it up, and just want you to fill that out. It's only 4 questions. It will kind of get a gist of where everybody's at, so that when I'm speaking, I'm not just speaking into the air. I can actually talk to you guys and we can start having a conversation. So I'm opening it up before I start the presentation to see if there's anything anybody wants to say beforehand. No? All right, you're just going to listen to me talk for a minute, so I appreciate that. So, hi everybody, we're going to jump straight into it, and I'm going to share my screen, and I want to make sure we can see this to start with, so do let me know. Commit and share.
We see it.
All right, perfect. So, as I said, my name is Andrew Powers, and I have quite the experience with Google. So this will be a little short overview of everything you can do, but very focused on creating a lean business model canvas. Before we start, I'm going to just give you a little gist of who I am. That is an old picture. You might be able to see the long hair now. So I have that going for me, but that is me. I am Andrew Powers. I'm a graduate from Seattle University. I graduated with a graphic design degree, and I went on to work for Google and Boeing as a business intern, and that was a long time ago. But recently, I've become a Google educator, certified educator, level 1, level 2, an ambassador, and even Google has these project management certificates, and I was able to get my project management certificate under Google. So I am a Google expert, if you would say. And that's why we're here today to talk about what you can do with Google. And first, I want to give a thank out to Jay, Seattle Public Library, and Black Fox Studios is a company in which I'm a business consultant, where I teach people how to do stuff like this on the daily for their own businesses, whether that's business planning, technical assistance, or in general, just helping out, plan out, and move forward through design. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about what is a business plan, meaning a sense of what you know about it, what is a lean model canvas and how that differentiates from a business plan in general. And then we're going to start doing your own lean model canvas. So there will actually be an opportunity to link and connect to a Google Doc and start following along in person if that's what you want to do. I would really highly recommend it because I want this to be as interactive. And really, the first step of you putting all this down in a document so you can start seeing how easy it is to do comparable to a 50-page business plan. And I hear someone, does anybody want to chime in? Or is that just an open mic? It might be an open mic with some tips. All right, so I'm going to go on to the next, which is up here. So what is a business plan? As most of you probably know, coming in here, a business plan is a document which talks about the future of your business, what you're trying to do, how you're going to do it, and all the strategies combined. And usually it's a pretty long document that tries to explain everything about your business, which is not a bad idea. But if any one of you have ever tried to start one, you'll probably get caught up on this concept of writing a 50-page business plan, one where everything's written down, you got to know everything. And that's how it used to be done probably in the 1950s, because you had to convince people and there weren't computers and there wasn't an internet. So you didn't have magical phones in your hand. So it was harder to get information out. About a few years ago, there was 10-page business plans. Has anybody done a 10-page business plan? You can raise your hand. You can kind of just throw up a like or a reaction. I'm interested to know. But if you have or you haven't, it still can be a hassle. It still can be a lot of information. That's why we're talking about this new kind of lean business plan, which is called a lean model canvas, which, as you can see on the top right corner, is a 1-page document. That's why they call it a canvas. You can really just think vision board. It's kind of the same concept. So that's what we'll be focusing on today. But the main concept is it's not a lot of sections. There's 9 areas to focus. And when you focus on these 9 areas, you can really encompass what you're trying to do, who you're trying to do it for, and how you're going to get it done. And that's the big difference between a business plan that you write to try to convince business banks and investors to invest in you versus a business plan that you're getting done so you can test it, you can move on, and you can really see if it's a good plan overall. Now, I will say I threw this slide in to be funny, but the whole point is when you hear the word lean, you might think lean beef, and it's kind of the same concept. It's trying to get rid of all the fat, get from this 50-page to this 1 page so you can get to the very lean part, the efficient part of what you're trying to do. And if I'm going too fast, just let me know. I'm trying to get to the meat and lean part of it, which is a bad pun, so I'll move on. So the biggest caps part of this is it's not something you just do once and you walk away. This is about doing it over again, testing it, talking to customers, and doing this plan so that you can look back at it and see what you've done, why you did it, and how you can make changes. Think of it more of a map than a specific, I guess, 5-year plan that won't be changed. This is more of like when you're driving down the road on Google Maps and it says turn left and you're like, oh, I missed that. Well, it will recalculate. That's the same concept that we're doing here. Just writing it down, getting this information in these little boxes so that now when you go out and you start talking about your business and you meet a customer and they say, oh, well, I would rather want to do, let's say cupcakes, but I want them to be cheesecake cupcakes. It's like, okay, well, if enough people have said that, now you can go back to your map, reroute it by changing the part, and it's not changing a 50-page document, it's only changing a whiteboard. So the main concept of this falls into these 9 categories, which is your customer segments, your value propositions, your channels, your customer relationships, your revenue streams, your key resources, key activities, key partnerships, and cost structures. I know that was a lot, but the gist of it, it's only 9 sections, And those 9 sections are what we're going to work on and go over today and show you how you can start filling this out so that it's not this large task, but it's something simple to do. So I'm going to kind of pause for a second, let all that kind of breathe in to see if anybody's got any questions. If anybody wants to yell at me at this moment, this is the second you can do that. Let me know. I'm looking at all the names. I see Tiara, Sean, hello, Gary. I forget how you pronounce your name, but I will remember it by the end of this. Okay, so if there's no questions on that, I'm actually going to go to our last slide, which is the actual business model canvas. And as you can see to the left, there's this pretty little picture. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy this link and I'm going to put it in the chat, because this link will allow you to make your own Google Doc, which is formatted like this. So you'll have your own business model canvas like the one I'm about to show you. So how many people use Google in their average day? Is there anybody who uses it? I'm assuming everybody uses Gmail. I'd be surprised. There we go, Jay, you do it. And he works at the library and they let him do it. So you know, the bureaucracy there allows, it's heavy. So nobody else, I'm assuming then nobody else has a Gmail account, which might be a little hard to get in that document. So I'll make a cheat and copy this link. And that will actually allow you to jump into the same document I'm working on. Let me, I can't delete that previous one. So there'll just be 2 links. One will allow you to open up your own. The other one will allow you to open up the one I'm on, which is actually one of the biggest points of why I'm showing you Google Docs and a business model canvas. It's not just about the business model, it's about being able to jump on. So I see a secret admirer who's jumped on. Can you click on? Oh, I see 2 of them. Can everybody actually just jump on and click one of these? Oh, I see. Yes, Alex, you use it? Yep. And if you are one of these users for Google, if you have a Gmail account, then that means you actually already have a Google Doc, Google Sheet, Google Sites, and a whole bunch of other things like a Google Form. Yes, I'm clicking, I'm eating. I do have a Google account. All right, well, I see you. You go eat. I'll be doing that afterwards. I got Taco Bell waiting for me. So just like Alex and Sean, they've got Google accounts. I see about 4 people jumping on. Oh, 5 people. I'm liking it. So now you're able to actually see that link takes you to this Google Doc. And this Google Doc, as you can see, I'll get a little bit closer just to make it more viewable. And I got another option. Let's do this. Get rid of that. Yeah, that's looking nice. So this is free. This is Google Docs. And with this format, you now have your business model canvas. Now, what it is, we still haven't gone over all the sections, but the gist of it, as you can see, it's just a whiteboard sectioned off in 9 different sections with Post-it notes that you can write on, put onto those sections, and you can start building out this plan really easy. And that's the gist of what we're trying to show you right now, is this is an easier task than trying to write a thesis paper for your business, especially when you're just starting. So now that I've seen a whole lot of people on here, I want to show you one first thing about maneuvering the Google Doc is when you click on one of these, you can double click and it brings you into what's called Google Draw. And this is where you can change the actual Post-it. You can copy it, make multiple copies. You can change the color. And if you're a nerd like me who loves whiteboards, well, this is your virtual whiteboard. And as you guys probably can see from everybody jumping on, that you can actually collaborate with a team doing this. So that's the gist of Google Docs. See, some of you use it, some of you know it, but now the rest of you have seen how to use it. All right, so we're now in a business model canvas online virtually, which is amazing. And it means if you are more than one person, you can actually collaborate with team members to work on a business model canvas. But the gist of it is there are 9 different sections we need to start filling out on a business to really talk about customer segment, key partners, cost structures, and revenue streams. I know those terms might seem daunting, but that's the point of why I'm showing you right now, because I like to make this as simple as possible. There will be a whole lot of resources I'll give you afterwards where you can study more, but for now, we'll just keep it simple. So with the business model canvas, first of all, I see some people like Sean and Alex responding, so I wanted to ask, has anybody done a business plan before or a business model canvas? If you have, throw it in the chat and that will allow me to know, who I can call on. But what we're going to do first is look at what's called a customer segment. And let me know if I need to zoom in too, because I can see it, but it might be further away. So we have a customer segment, and that's who are your customers? Now, first, you're probably going to have to talk about what your business is, but with every business, you have customers and you have key partners. And how you design or what your business is all about your customers. And I see, Alex, you haven't done a business model canvas yet, so this is good. We can start doing it now. Now, quick question, Alex. What business are you focused on? That helps, because I want to do a live show right now based on a concept that you guys have rather than just mine. If you don't, I can just start throwing out my business ideas because I got tons. But if there is someone with a business idea who wants to present it so we can run through this canvas using that, that will probably be the most helpful way to do this. I see. All right.
Sure. Go ahead.
Photography. Okay, cool, cool, cool. My mom's not on this yet, but she would love that because she's actually been trying to start a photography business. So we'll run with that. The business model canvas we're going to do right now is going to be a photography business. Oh, look at that. What I just did right now is rename this document, which might be a bad idea because now I realize the templates will all be named photography, but it's a good idea because it allows for, I'm just powering in my computer because it wanted to die all of a sudden, but I got backups. There's no way tech is going to defeat me today. So my mother would love that. Photography business model canvas, just renamed it based on that suggestion. So thank you, Alex. So we're talking about a photography business. And if we're going to go with something like my mother, she also wants to do photography, but she specifically doesn't want to do wedding photography. She just wants to take the pictures and have those pictures be sold, probably on Etsy or some other site, allowing for the business to be less of a in-person communication, trying to deal with weddings, which can be a disaster, and more of a business which allows her to do what she loves, sell those pictures through online or through references, and not have to do so much sales, which does make photography a little difficult there. But this is the whole point of the business model canvas. We're going to try to run through this concept of doing that type of business and figuring out the different sections that we're going to have to focus on so that this business can be planned out. So let's start with customer section, because that's always going to be the most important part. Double clicked on it, it opens up, and now we see one. I'm going to get a little bit closer because I know it could be far away from you guys. Now we see one Post-it note. Ignore the Latin. I was about to say Italian, and that would have been totally wrong. Ignore the Latin. That's a design thing where you just put in Latin. It means nothing. But we're saying photography customers, and this point, we're saying Etsy customers, because she does not want to do it in person. She does not want wedding individuals. And I'm just gonna copy that, and then I'm gonna paste it. I'm doing it this way so you can see copy paste, because you can't see my keyboard. And now I have my second Post-it note. Now, what other customers can we look for when we're thinking of a photography business? Well, I actually do know one, and this is cheating. I'm sorry, guys. I run an Airbnb, and I specifically started the Airbnb to basically be like a hotel. And I know that my mother has always wanted her photography work to be in hotels, and hotels do work with certain artists, usually stock photo artists, to take those photos and put them around the hotel. So I run an Airbnb, which is a Seattle-based Airbnb, and my mother does Seattle-based photography. So hospitality businesses, I might spell this wrong. It's all, this is all a plan. So don't worry about the spelling and ignore mine. Hospitality. It's close to hospital. It's like hospital. Okay, so hospitality businesses. And we can also say, because I've seen this actually work for, especially when we're talking about a startup business trying to think about selling her photos without having to really go out and sell them. I see multiple farmers markets where a small vendor can sell photos and art and other activities. Now notice, this was just made up on the spot. We were just thinking about it, we were putting it down, but that's the whole point. It's like a Post-it note situation. Write it down, put it down, and now keep going, because these are assumptions. This is coming off the top of my head. Now, I have thought about a lot of this based on my mom's business, but these are just assumptions I'm making based on what I know right now. And when we get all this down, then it's about going out and testing those assumptions, making sure that these are the right customers. Maybe farmers markets aren't the right place to be for my mother's photography, but it could be. And that would be a really easy thing to test out. Because I know Burien has a farmer's market every Thursday, and I walk past there, and I'm not judging, but I think I could, really do well if I sold stuff there. I think I could sell very well, especially with my mom's photography. And I'd actually be curious, Alex, is this the type of photography you're thinking of as well? You can put that in the chat. I'll keep going, but as we flesh out this business, all these other things flesh out too. So we talked about customer segments. We're talking about photography. That could be a customer segment in which we look at who our customers are and where they could be. Now let's talk about key partners. I'm jumping on this. I had started a arcade business, just ignore that. One part of it, okay, Alex says this photography, which could be in hospitality, is one part of it. So he's thinking probably bigger. I would eventually, Alex, I would like to talk to you about that, because I'm always curious of what people are doing in business, and that's my job to help them out. So ignore this arcade stuff. That's my secret arcade business. So you can ignore all those terms. I'm going to start changing them out, because for a photography business, what are going to be our key partners? That's actually interesting, because who am I trying to partner with so that can actually engage with the customers? Well, I'm going to say a photography, camera supply system or store, camera store. Because I'm a photography business, the hotels. Yes, Alex says the hotels align with what he's focused on. So see, I know a little bit of something. Okay. And printing company, stock photo agency, there we go. Alex is putting in the work. So he's saying there's printing companies he will be working with as a photography company. And his key partners are going to be printing companies and stock photo agency. And that is actually a very good point, because when you're working with those hotels, you actually want to be able to engage with the stock photo agencies, because that's typically where they're getting their mass amounts of photos to fill in their hotels, because they're doing it at one go. They're just going to buy from the supplier or buy a certain type. Now, again, I'm an Airbnb, hospitality on a smaller scale, and I only have about 6 or 7 walls that need to be filled. But for someone like my mom, who's a small vendor, who would go to the farmer's market, I could actually buy all my pictures from her, put them on the wall, and I'd be satisfied. And that actually could extend to multiple Airbnbs as well. So I'm going to add one for that type of business to say Airbnb host. And as you can see, I keep pulling in my personal experience, but that's where you're usually getting this business idea, the business plan, and the motivation to push it out, because you do have personal knowledge that this idea is good for the market, and there's customers and key partners you've already engaged with. Oh, and Jay says, would the farmer's market be a partner too? You are absolutely correct. So after typing this, short-term rentals, I'm going to make one more copy. Let's do this like that, copy and paste. There is an easier way to copy and paste, Control-C, Control-V, but I'm trying to make it visual so you can see. So farmers market. So now we've typed in at least 5 key partners. And as you can see, out of the 9 segments using math, we only have 7 left.
And look at how each time we add a customer segment, it kind of mushrooms in other areas. You know, those other the key partners we need to add as we add a new customer segment too.
Exactly. Because the key customers are essentially our first focus. There is a business problem that we're trying to solve, and that's essentially where all of our business is based around. And once you focus on the customers, it leads to the key partners, and it starts trickling down to everything. So in a lean business model canvas, we're really focused on who are our customers, what do they want, and getting out and engaging with that question, because once you start putting that down, that's what everything else in the business model canvas is going to be based off of. But also, once you go out and start testing that and you find out more customers, you'll come back and you'll start changing some of the other things like key partners and customer relationships and almost everything based on who your customers are. And that's why it's so important to put this down like a map, go out, test your map, come back and iterate through. And if my mom jumps on, I will have her and me work together so we can use this canvas to do the same for her. But she didn't show up for me, so it's okay. That's not neglect, it's not. Okay, so we went to customers, we went to key partners, and now we're going to a thing called value proposition. Now this one is a unique word. The way that it's also described is a unique value prop, meaning what do you provide, what do you do that makes your business different? What's the one thing that you can say, even if you're a photography business, why is your photography business different? It can be simple. It can be, oh, I live in Federal Way, and there's not a lot of individuals doing this business in Federal Way. That's a unique value proposition. It could be the way you take your pictures or how you even frame them. It's just what makes you different. And that's what you're trying to put down here, because now that you're talking about your customers, your key partners, you know who you're going to go talk to, but what are you going to say to them? How are you going to say, all right, well, I'm a photography business. And they say, well, I've seen that. Well, I'm a photography business that focuses on providing these photos to small hospitality Airbnbs or short-term rentals, or I'm a hospitality business that presents these large amounts of photos so that hotels and other big hospitality locations can just buy them in bulk. Okay, that could be unique, because I haven't heard about that. And those customers and these key partners could see the unique value in doing business with you. So we're going to jump into that. Double click. And again, I'm going to get closer. I'm never sure how easy it is to see for you guys. I just treat it like dealing with my grandfather, who's always like, oh, the screen's too far away. And it's like right up to here. So, all right. So value prop. Felix, I liked your previous ideas. Or sorry, Alex, I saw Fernandez, so I mixed the F with that. Alex, I liked your previous ideas. So if you have any more concepts on this, on how you specifically, uniquely do your business, this is where it would be put down. I'm just going to start throwing some down for myself and my mother's business. I know that she focuses on going around Seattle, and hers are very, they're flowers, they're the Space Needle. I think they call it scenic pictures. I'm not too sure of that term, but I know that that's what she does and that's what she likes, and that's what her portfolio is about. So we'll say scenic pictures. Again, spelling can be off. It's just about planning. I'm going to copy, paste. I'll move this one over here. And one thing, oh, pets, there we go. Alex focuses on pets. Ooh, Alex, I see you. That is a good one. Oh my gosh. All right, pets. Because now if we talk about pets, that's interesting, because I would actually go back to customer segments, and I'm going to double click here. And if pets is one of your things in photos, wow, you have a customer that can be individuals who are pet owners. And every pet owner loves their pet. Their pets are like their kids. And do we know how many people love to take pictures of their kids? So that is a very good one. I am jealous. I don't have a pet yet. I've been planning on it. So yeah, I would do the same. So yeah, you got it. You would get me. All right. So we're talking about pets, and because we changed customer segments, I'm going to actually add one here too, because we're talking about a business that might focus on scenic, but we're also talking a business that is now talking about pets as well. High quality pictures of their pets. Yes, Jay, you are absolutely right. So now I'm thinking, okay, who's a key partner with pets? Could it be pet stores? I don't know, but this is the whole point. These are the assumptions of what we're going to have to go out and test. So I'm going to put it down there because this is just the map. Pet stores and grooming. I don't know if that's different than a pet store. Don't hate me for not knowing that. My girlfriend has a Lhasa Apso. I never say it right. And she hates when I get it wrong. That's why I said it wrong on purpose. Grooming stores. All right. So as you can see, that's a whole list of key partners to approach. Those are different types of businesses that can be approached. And with a value proposition, that's actually saying what you specifically do, it starts to not only change the customer segment, but it also talks about who you're going to approach to now talk about partnerships. So when you do finally approach your customers, either by hitting them at grooming shops, going to farmers markets with those vending booths and having a little pet, what do you call it? Pet eating area. And now the pets come to you and you can take pictures. That would be done deal. So, but what it really says is now you know how to talk to your partners and your customer segments in a way to uniquely identify who you are, what you do, and what your business is about. So scenic pictures, pets, I'm going to leave it there for now so we can move on to this key activities. And again, you can think key activities as your solution, essentially how you're going to do it. And that's pretty much what a business model is all about. What is your solution for doing this type of photography that's going to make everybody happy, everybody love you, hold you up like not like Kanye West. You don't want to be like him, but hold you up like, you know, a business hero. So I'm jumping in here, double clicking. Again, ignore the rambling of another business idea. Which is all in Latin. So the key activities. This is what activities you're actually doing for your business. Well, you're obviously taking photos. And you're probably going to do that at different locations. Photography. Now, what other key activity does it come to photography? Are we talking about, there's this term, I forget. It's basically like setting up the scene. Staging, I think that's it. It looks like staging for some reason. Now, there is another question. Are you going to frame the pictures, or is that why you're working with a camera or framing store? Is that another key partner to work with? I know from my mom, she loves doing the framing, and it's actually part of what allows her pictures to pop off, especially because they're scenic. I assume that would be the same case with a pet picture. It's not just the picture, but the frame. They would do the framing. All right, so for Alex, he says they would do the framing. So I'm actually going to get out of key activities, go back to key partners, and add a framing store. I know everybody's not participating, but I want you to see how it's a collaborative process that you don't have to do alone. Pull in family members, you can pull in business partners. Like we're doing right now, Alex and myself, we're bouncing off each other on the information that we know to make sure that we're adding the sections that matter. And this again is just a map to see everything on one board so that when you start attacking this business plan, the concept, and talking to people, you know who you plan to talk to, why you're talking to them, and how you're going to approach that. So going back to key activities, we said 200, and I'm still going to add framing down here as a key activity because it's still part of the process, but it can be outsourced by a key partner. I'm assuming scheduling, because I know with, what do you call it, weddings and even like family pictures, it's all about getting everybody dressed up and looking right. I was the rowdy kid when I was younger who would never sit still for a picture. So I'm not one to talk, and my mom would tell you right now that I was not good for this. But she did do the scheduling. I just happened to mess it up once I got there. Um, and I know the business was all about having people there at the right time. Would having accessories available count? Accessories like what, Alex? Alex is saying, would having accessories available count? Styling the dogs. Ooh, yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Now, is that part of staging? Or is that called grooming? But we'll just call it accessories for now, because that's the term Alex used. And look at that. This is why I like Google Docs. It will correct your spelling because it is a Word document, or kind of like Microsoft Word, where they stole the idea from. All right, so one thing I like to do, because I'm a Post-it nerd, is I like to color things differently, and then when they're related, put them over each other. And if you've ever used Google Draw or any quick graphic program like this, or PowerPoint, better yet, you know you can actually do things like change a shape, or you can order it. So I'm going to send this to the back, and it goes behind that one. So they're kind of layered. And because I'm a stickler about certain things, I like them vertically and horizontally aligned. Oh, one real quick, that red line means it's horizontally aligned. Horizontally, vertically, there we go, better word. All right. So let's jump out of that. Now you see we have all those over there. We are done with 3 sections, and where's the time on this? I think that only took about 10 minutes. I don't know. I'm talking. So when I'm talking, it can be hours, it can be 10 minutes. I don't know. But hopefully this is allowing you to see that this is a relatively easy process. It's very similar to just using Post-it notes, which you can do on a whiteboard. I actually, if it wasn't blurred out, you could see I have a whiteboard back there where that's exactly what I've done, Post-it notes. So it's not a high-tech, super technical process. This is the same thing you can do on a whiteboard. It's the same thing you can do in Google Docs. And big businesses like Google and Boeing do this all the time. But this is a way that you can do it on your scale, whatever scale that is, or like title goes, at home. So I'm talking, I'm gonna give it a little second just to see if there's any questions. If there's someone who wants to raise a hand, point out something, or ask a specific question, I'm gonna give it a little second before we move on to the next one. Oh, and by the way, thank you, Alex, for those. Those were very good add-ons.
Think how long that would have taken if we were back in that 1950s 100-page business planning, and we we're trying to figure out how to how to adjust our plan. Like we would have had to go back into all these different sections and adapt it. And I think that's what's really nice about this, is that we can pretty quickly adapt and adjust and think through the process together. I really like that about this.
Absolutely. And that's the best part. And I'm a huge fan of it because it can be done on a whiteboard, but like we're doing right now, it can be done collaboratively online. And we're not talking about, I see Tesha. If I said it right, let me know. Tesha did ask.
Hi. Yeah. What I wanted to ask is, what are actually the main things that we need to look at when we are choosing partners? Because sometimes partners also somehow mix it up with the consumers. and the consumers are mostly buying products, and the partners are the one who are partnering into the business that we are planning to do. So what are actually the real things that we need to consider in choosing partners? That's my question.
Perfect. Thank you. And it was, I always like to pronounce names right.
Sahai. It means sunshine.
Shaha. There we go. Thank you, Shaha.
Yeah, that's right.
Very good question. I have a twin brother, and I was always called his name when I grew up. So I make it my job to say people's names right. Because they were like, "Oh, Adam," and I was just like, "Fine, whatever." So now I make sure. Shahai. Thank you, Shahai. That's a question. Alex even said he was thinking the exact same thing, and there were things I had been thinking about to now visualize too. Perfect. So, when we're talking about the partnerships and the difference between that and your customer segment, we're really thinking customers as the people who are actually going to buy, the ones who are going to say, okay, I'm buying this, what you're selling. If it's a photography business and we're creating this great photography, the customer is the one who's like, oh, I want a picture of my pet and I want it like this, and I will pay you when I come here and you've done it. That's a customer. Now, your key partners are, okay, well, is there a location where you can take these pet pictures that makes everything great? Is it a dog park? Is it a place in the mall that's set up that you don't own? Well, you go to those partners and you say, look, or those people or businesses, and you say, look, this is my business. I take pictures of pets. I set up the scene, but I would like to do it at your location, and we can actually both benefit, both are businesses benefit, because if you're a dog park, I don't know if there's payment for a dog park, but if there is a section where you would dog owners have to pay, well, now you can go up to that park owner and say, look, I actually have a whole bunch of customers that I can bring in to this dog park, about 10 of them on a Friday, which is the day you don't really have a lot of people, and they are coming to pay for their dogs to come in, which means you get an income, and I'm actually going to take photos, which means I get an income, and that's a perfect partnership because we both are looking for that customer to engage with our business, but for different reasons.
Okay, thanks.
And that's, that's just throwing off the top with this photography one, but it's really what similar to your key activities, like we said in this, we said photography at different locations, which is what I just talked about. And then we talked about staging. So Alex added in his photography, he's doing pet accessories. So let's say Alex, who's taking photos of these dogs, he doesn't want to carry around these accessories. He doesn't want to pay for these accessories all the time because these accessories don't fit every dog, or they're not something he has the money to pay for right now. Well, there are pet stores where he could either work with, he could get them loaned out, or he could get a discount for coming to that store constantly to get accessories. So that would be seen as another key partnership.
Okay. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thanks for asking. That was a very good question. All right. So we talked about the customers and how that leads into your key partnerships, because you want those partnerships to engage or help you engage with your customers. And those key activities are the things your business has to do to get your product or service done. Now, the next one is your channels. Now, this actually relates to what we talked about with the key partnership, is how is your product going to be distributed? How are your customers getting to you? What are the channels, like a river? How do they travel to get to your business? Or how do you set up a system so they can travel? Now, if we're talking about photography, well, that's a very physical-based business, meaning if it is pet photography, you're going to have to meet up with the pet. At least right now, I assume it can't be done virtually. If it could, that would be crazy. Yeah. But theoretically, because you're taking the picture with your camera and you're doing it to a very specific way with specific lighting, you're going to need specific locations to do that. So this one can get complex in what we call a channel. I'm making it very simple to just try to get the idea out. So we'll just say a channel is a distribution of either your customers coming to you or your product going to your customer. With accessories, oh, I see new questions. I'm going down. New questions. And let's say, this is weird because photography, you really do got to go there. Social media would definitely be a channel because it's the way you put out your content so people can see what you're doing. You would probably want something like a blog or website, which would really be a portfolio. And that's where you'd be pulling from the photos and contents you want to show people. Another channel can actually be similar to the partnerships where you're posting your photos. So I didn't actually say this one in a key partnership because at least with my mom, I'm going to post her stuff in the Airbnb, but I've also partnered with a coffee shop down the way who I'm going to be hosting their coffee, but this is also a way I'm going to walk into the coffee shop and present the idea of her photos being on their wall. So that's not technically a customer because I'm not selling that, or she's not selling her photos to the coffee shop, but the coffee shop is hosting her photos so that guests can actually see them and buy them if they would like. And that can be a channel and also a key partnership. Now, I don't know what to call that other than a coffee shop. Oh, there's a word for it. It's like when you place stuff in a grocery store. I'm just gonna call it a vendor table or wall. These are terrible terms, but again, this is just planning. We're gonna go and find out the words to use so that when we go to our key partners and we talk about a business, this idea gets turned into the language that fits the customer and the partners we're looking to talk to. So excuse me for making up these terms, wall-based placements. And the gist of it is we're talking right now, we're the ones putting this together, so we understand what we're saying, but it is important that we take what we're putting down and we go out into the real world and find out what that term is. How do our customers talk about it? How do our key partners talk about it? So that we can come back and change these Post-it notes to mirror exactly what our future customers are looking for. And most importantly, when we talk about channels, this is the important part of the channels is how do people find your stuff? So I'm using vendor table wall-based placement. Yeah, you can't type that into Google and find something. But when we do find out what that is, when you partner with a coffee shop or some other location to host your photos, that's the channel that we're looking for. And that's when we come back here and replace the Post-it note with that channel. What's what you need? So we've talked about channels, and that's talking about ways to get people there. And that's related to key partners, customer segments, and our key activities. The next one that really relates to what you were talking about with your key partners is your key resources. What do you need for your business to be that business? And we're gonna, again, simplify it. I'm not a photographer, so I'm throwing it off the top of my head. Alex, if you got more things on this, key resources, but I'm assuming one of the biggest key resources is going to be your cameras. And I have taken a photography class, and when I did that, I realized camera lenses were so important to taking the right picture. So we talk about key resources, that's one thing as well. And this also relates back to your key partners, meaning who you're going to talk to. Ah, there we go, Alex. Thank you, adding some. I see you. So Alex, the photographer, has put down backdrops and lenses, lighting. These are the resources that a photographer is going to need for doing their type of business, which is taking pictures. Oh, yep, you're right, reflectors. When I learned there was a thing about reflecting light, I was like, oh no, this is too much for me. And then editing programs. There we go, which is very important. So these are key resources that we're looking at to actually getting this business done, which is a photography business. We're talking about the cameras, the camera lenses, the backdrops, the lighting, the editing programs, and reflecting surfaces. Now, if you notice, something like the background and lighting, those can relate to the location and what we talked about with the key partners. That might be why you're partnering with a business, because they provide a lighting or background. Or like we said, in going to the mall, there might be a mall location that has certain things set up. So these are reasons why, these are how you lead to finding your key partners. And as we keep adding, we keep seeing how all these sections relate and start changing what we previously were thinking were our key partners, or thinking were our key activities. Because now that you're looking at all these sections, they're actually relating and changing together. And that's the whole point. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 more sections. So I want to give it another breath. See if there's questions like the last one, which was a very good question. We're going to talk about, did I say 4? Yeah, we're going to talk about customer relations and cost structure and revenue stream. So we're at 30-minute mark. Just want to slow down a bit, see if I take a breath. I want everybody to kind of take a breath. It might be a lot, but just imagine 50-page business plan versus what we've gotten done in about 25 minutes. In comparison, not a lot. And also, this quick version is something that you'll have from this point on that you can easily change. It's not erasing a whole page or doing another thesis paper. It's just taking one Post-it note off and putting another one.
Mhm.
So there is a question is the key resources has to do where you get the product also? The answer is yes. So, oh, did I, what? No, I hit the wrong thing. I'm not gonna do that. Okay, so yes, that is one thing we weren't talking about, which is when we talk about your cameras and these other things, it's not just focusing on the physical items that you need, but it's also thinking about where you're getting them. So let's do one here. We can say Best Buy. That's, I might be, Alex, you can hate me if that's a terrible location to go. But that's what I know. Best Buy. And I'm gonna change the color just to make sure it's a different type. Wow, that's a terrible color. Let's go green. Yeah, not too good. But, and then I'm gonna do one more thing, like I said, since the back. And then I'm gonna layer them. As I'm gonna post it in there. So when we talk about key resources, to your point, we're not just talking about the equipment, we're talking about the resources that would allow you to do this type of business. And going to Best Buy, being able to get that resource, or maybe there's even a loan process in which you're able to get that camera or computer or editing device in a different way. Now, we're still talking about a camera, we're still talking about camera lenses, but how you're getting it also then relates to channels. I keep clicking on the wrong. So this is channels is, and I said it can get more complicated, but I'll try to keep it simple. Channels is talking about the channels in which you want your customers to come in and out, but it's also talking about how your business moves to get to your customers. So key resources, cameras, key partnerships can be places like Best Buy, and your activities rely on these key resources. All right, so I'm going to jump into cost structure and revenue stream, but I really love that question, Tesha. And if someone has a question on these first, wait, let me go 7. There you go. I'm good at math. All right, you're welcome. Tesha says, yes, thank you. Appreciate it. So one of the things I really love about the business lean model canvas or lean business model canvas is it is a quick way to start putting down information. And normally when we talk about a business, or at least when we're talking to investors or financiers or people who might want to get money from the business, whether they're a stakeholder or not, everybody wants to talk about the money. And if you noticed, that's the last thing we're talking about. We're talking about customers and key partners, how the business actually works before we talk about how much money's coming in and therefore how much it costs, therefore how much money we need it to come in. Because this is a map. It's not a investment plan. It's not trying to convince other people. It's trying to put down what you think about what you can do and who you can do it for, so that you can start talking to them as soon as possible and making sure that that's what they want and that's what they will pay for. So the cost structure and revenue stream, just like everything else, is an idea that we put down on paper and we start trying to figure out if this fits. But it's not this 100-page plan that we got to do. So I know people can get very scared when it comes to the numbers, but I'm going to do something that might seem blasphemous. I'm going to just start throwing down the numbers. Feel that this is a good thing. See you, Tiara. I'm glad you. All right, Tiara, the numbers person left. See, I even scared the number. No, I'm kidding. Tiara, she does credit repair. Very good. If you're ever looking for credit repair, she's an amazing person. She showed up, so appreciate that. But the key thing is numbers can scare people. And I, just to let you know, have bad credit, so I'll be talking to Tiara soon. But this section is not to say, oh, you have to know what your numbers are. It's more so saying, let's put down a number to start and figure out if those numbers, meaning your costs and your revenue, match up so that you're actually making profit. Because if you start saying, oh, well, I'm just going to charge $5 and it costs you $25 to do what you're going to do, well, then no matter, even if you have 10 million customers, you're not making money. So we need to figure out what your cost is, what your revenue, put it down first to make sure that you have this revenue idea bringing in money versus how much it costs, and that cost is less than your revenue. I'm trying to hold my hands and they're blurred, but we'll go here. So let's go to cost first. I know this is controversial because everybody wants to talk about how much money you're going to make. Yes, side note, Tierra is teaching a workshop in credit repair tomorrow, and it's about personal credit 101. It's a virtual workshop just like this. So if you guys are interested, Jay put in the link. Now, if we haven't scared you enough about numbers, we're jumping into the cost. And last note, just like this one, it's free. So don't worry about, again, don't let the numbers scare you. That's free to go to, and she will be very on point. So we're taking this first one that's about cost, and we're saying we're going to have to take in all those ideas of what is going to cost us money to run this business and put it in here. We don't have to have the numbers. We can actually just say equipment to start with. Let's not start with numbers. Let's just start with what's, if I spell that right. There we go, Word document. And Alex, you might be very helpful on this. If I miss or don't add something on photography-based business, what could be an extra cost? Equipment, travel, because presumably you're traveling to different locations to take these pictures. And I know my mom, again, who's not going to do weddings, who's only taking scenic pictures. Well, she's traveled all the way up to, I don't know if it's Puyallup or somewhere deeper than that, Arlington. I actually don't know the place. But, oh, Orcas Island, there we go. I'm pretty sure that's it. To take pictures of tulips, because there's some tulip, something. Yeah, I'm very knowledgeable, as you can see, about what she does. But that's gas, that's time. Oh, and there we go. Alice has got another one, location rental, because you're renting locations from time to time. And notice again, I'm not putting down numbers because it's not about the numbers right now. It's about the things that are going to cost money and thinking about that first and putting this in this section so that when we start putting down the numbers, they're related to everything that we have to do. So is there one more? Equipment, travel? I'm actually going to say the channels we talked about, we're going to call social media and website hosting, aka portfolio. Because, like we said before, that's one of our main channels for people to actually see our stuff and be able to see what type of photos that we're doing so that they can then contact us and get us to come to their location through travel, pay for a location to rent. And I said travel twice, that's how expensive it is. And then pay for the equipment and possibly the accessories. Okay. So this is a quick thing. Notice again, no numbers. Hopefully I didn't scare away everybody with math yet. But we're looking at equipment, travel, location, and accessories, and also social media, website hosting, aka posting your portfolio. That one I put up there as a little, what do you call it, bit, because we're about to get to 6:15 and I want to start talking about the next classes that are related to this. And one of them is a website class where you can make your own website with Google Sites for free for no cost. So there is ways to put up a portfolio and make a website for free so that that cost can be minimized. But nevertheless, we're going to put it up here because it falls under the things that wouldn't make a cost structure. And I did that weird, so I'm going to put these side by side so they stretch out, just because that's how organized is the nice one. OCD, there we go. That's how OCD are. And I'm doing this so I can show you that you can actually just pull them all together because they're grouped. and make them bigger. So this is our last one. Thank you guys for being here, listening to me yap away, and looking to see how that we can put together real quick photography business model canvas using Google Doc relatively easily. And I hope this allows you to see that business plans or even planning out your business doesn't have to start with this long endeavor. It can be a quick endeavor in which you put post-it notes in these 9 different sections to really flesh out your first iteration, your first version of your business. Because as a business, unless you're a nonprofit, you're going to be focused on revenue. And this is where everybody really wants to get to. But we focused on all those 8 different sections so that when we start talking about this section, it's in relation to customers, key partners, key resources, because that's actually where your revenue streams are going to come from. And we did talk about hotels and big hospitality when it came to big hospitality. Wow, apparently that's not a word. But the reason I put that there is because we can think of single individual sales, meaning one customer at a time, like let's say in the pet grooming or not grooming, pet business in which we're doing photography. Well, we're thinking about getting there, having the customer bring their dog and having these photo shoots. Well, that can be a one-off payment for a scheduled hour. So that could be, let's say this copy. I'm talking about that, not the big hotel yet. So 1 hour photo shoot sessions. And again, I'm not putting down the number yet. I'm really just talking about the ways that we can separate getting money, because this other one, which I named poorly, we'll talk about multi-picture sales. So as a photography business, we can do the one-off shoots, which we talked about, bringing the dogs, setting them up, or we can take a whole bunch of pictures that we already have in our portfolio and we can sell them off. Now, there's actually different ways to sell them off in multiple pictures. You can sell them as stock photos, which Alex, you might know more about this than I do, but sometimes you can go to a stock website, and we'll say stock photos website, and you can sell your photos for like, I think $2 a photo, or dang it, this is actually getting really extensive, because you can sell them for $2 a photo, or you can sell them on something called a royalty, which means every single time your photo gets sold, you get a percentage of that. So let's say the photo's like $5. I am going to start writing down numbers, but these are positive numbers, so don't get scared. Let's say each photo on a stock website cost $5. And because you're partnered with a stock website, you get 25 cents from every sale. So that's one way that I have researched in the past that you could sell your photos in bulk, and you actually get a return every single time they resell your photos to someone else online. Or, like we said, we can have hourly, oh, my bad. We can have hourly sessions. Did I miss what went into the customer relation box? Oh, hey, No, you're right, because that's empty. My bad. Oh, thank you, Sean. Yeah, I was looking at time, so I was trying to make sure and I jumped that one. But that is actually the last one, so we're still good. So let's do this. I'll jump back in here, but thank you, Sean, for talking about customer relations, because I might have spent too much time on this revenue stream if you didn't let me know. So thank you. So we're looking at 1 hour photo sessions, and let's just say photo sessions, because they could be different hours. 1 hour, we could have a 5 hour. And I don't like that it's going over it like that. So I'm going to hold down shift. I'm going to order these and I'm going to send them to the back. And I'll send this one to the back just because I'm a stickler on that. So multiple picture sales, we have stock photos and then stock photo websites, and we have stock websites. So that's a multiple photos or selling the photos over and over. We have photo sessions, which is a one-time sale where we're actually selling it or we're charging by the hour. And then there could be a flat fee as well, where you can just charge a flat fee for a single sale of a pre-made photo, which I don't know, Alex, you might know this, if that's still considered a stock photo or not. But because I'm a fan of the concept of selling on Etsy, some of the back, we'll just call it Etsy photo sale. And I will put a price down. Again, I'm not trying to scare people with numbers, and they have to know their numbers at this point. But I do know when we're talking about sales and revenue, people don't mind as much. Because it's positive, I'm giving it a green background. So these are some presumed revenue streams. It allows for this business to bring in money from a photography business, but doing it in different, you can think of it like, you know how they, what is that? I always hate it when I go to the rent-a-car facility and they're like, oh, here's the bronze option, the silver and the gold. Well, those are different options that allow you to pay different prices. And those are different revenue streams in a sense of this is how they can bring in certain levels of money. It can be, revenue streams are usually different ways they can get in money, like when they're trying to sell you insurance or something. I don't really like car places. So, but this is what they do to bring in money. And that's similar to what we're talking about here. So we've got cost structure, revenue streams, but the actual very last one, even though I misspoke, is the customer relationships. This one, I would say, is also trying to describe what is your unfair advantage that you're providing through this business. Meaning, what do you do different? And it's similar to what we talked about with value proposition, but this one is focused on your customer in a sense of, all right, how are you connecting with them? How are you making your business a relationship rather than just a sell and get out? And again, that can get more complicated, but we're almost finished, so I don't want to dive too much into it. I want to give a little bit of space for talking afterwards or questions. So again, you can yell at me, not Jay, he's a nice guy. So Alex talked about pets And when he said that, I was thinking, there's an idea because my girlfriend, she has a pet and takes pictures all the time. So how does someone who would want to take pictures of her pet engage with her customers? Again, it comes down to something like social media, but and this is getting a little bit too much in the weeds, but we're almost here, so I'll just say this. I think of it as like a present or a gift bag. And what I'm really saying there is, what does someone leave with that allows them to remember that experience? How does this customer feel afterwards or even before? What is that experience that they're walking away from that now when they talk to their friends about, oh yeah, I got this picture, but this is what Alex did as well. He look at the little gift bag, look at this little note, look at what was provided that actually allows me to remember the experience beyond just this thing. And I'm blanking when it comes to photography, but let's see. Trying to think of what my mom does. My mom loves all these little gift bags and wrapping, personal customizing for wrapping. Postcards with pet print. Wow, Alex. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Postcards with pet print. That is amazing, because that is truly something unique. Postcards with pet print. When we're talking about building a relationship with a customer, making it personal, allowing them to see that you're not just a business selling something, but it's an experience that you're providing that works for a service, it works for a product, that works for any business. So this section is about how you're building those relationships with those customers, how you're communicating so that they know that when they do see a competition, someone who's doing something like you, they're like, nah, I will stick with Alex because he knows my pet. We even had that moment we put the pet's hand into this, what do they call it? Like a clay, and it made a little seal. Yeah, it's a done deal. Like I can, yeah, I already know she would die over that and would keep talking about that and put it in a glass case. Is there a regular Google template or something you created? Do I need to log in and save? Yes, there is a template, and give me a second. So, copy link address. Oh, and by the way, so I have a website, it's a Google site, and what I will do is first I'll put that here in the chat. It doesn't link, but we are at 6:28, so I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to actually go to the last slide, and it leads into what was just asked in the chat, which is there a regular template, Google template, or something you've created, or do I need to log in and save? And what she's referring to, Sean's referring to, is getting to that document. So I do have a website, and I thought I could just click here and it would just send me there. Let's exit full and just jump into a new tab. So this is my website. It's a Google site. It's actually one of the things I'll be teaching on November 28th. This is a very basic site, but what I'll be doing is adding another page that has all this information that I just provided everybody in the class, so that it'll be free online and you can go through all this information, especially the Google template for the Lean Business Model Canvas. So that is where this business model canvas will be stored. I will provide the template, the same one we started with, so you can start off from the beginning, and you'll have it in your Google Drive, your Google Docs, and you can work on this the exact same way we did. So I appreciate everybody who came through. It was very exciting for me. I've been waiting a long time to do this and provide this, and I've been building my Google chops just so I can do this, because I think this is one of the most accessible ways to start doing businesses even from home. So thanks everybody. I want to open it up. It is 6:29, so I will stop talking and I'll provide the floor. You're welcome, Sean and Jan. Appreciate it. Oh, have I only been sending direct messages to Alex? I'm sorry, Alex. I've just been bombarding you. So Black Fox Studios.
Thank you, Andrew.
Welcome, Jay. And
Well,
thanks.
this is amazing. When you and I were talking about doing this months ago, I didn't even imagine it would be so good. Like that, what you just shared in that interactive forum, that's amazing. So I'm super excited about the next ones coming up, the cash flow projections and building a website using these tools too. I'm just thrilled. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the recording in case there's folks that want to ask questions not on recording. But Andrew, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, folks that joined, and thank you to our captioners also who've been captioning in the background. So look forward to next time, and I'll turn off the recording now.